I don't know if you guys caught this recently, but Mark Zuckerberg seems, I don't know if he's having an evolution or if he just wants us to believe he's having an evolution. Maybe he's eating less soy. I'm not really sure, but like he started doing jujitsu. He started like saying some kind of cool things about Donald Trump. Here's a refresher.
Now, look, I mean, there's obviously a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. I mean, the historic events over the last, like over the weekend. And I mean, on a personal note, it's, you know, I mean, seeing Donald Trump get up after getting shot in the face and pump his fist in the air with the American flag is one of the most badass things I've ever seen in my life.
From Mark Zuckerberg. Wow. Well, yesterday, Meta, of course, that's Facebook, Meta, the parent company, had to apologize for fact-checking the iconic Donald Trump photo as false. Yes, it says, here's a fact check. It says, altered photo in a post that you shared. Independent fact checkers reviewed a similar photo and said it was altered in a way that could mislead people. Facebook determined your post has the same altered photo and added a notice to the post. People who repeatedly share false information might have their post moved lower in the newsfeed so other people are less likely to see them. So Facebook comms director issued this apology. Yes, this was an error. Oh, yes, of course. It was an oopsies. Okay. He said this fact check was initially applied to a doctored photo showing the Secret Service agents smiling. And in some cases, our systems incorrectly applied the fact check to the real photo. And on top of all of this, I will just also add, Mark Zuckerberg has said that he is not going to openly endorse any presidential candidate during this election. He also, it's not just him, it's not just his personal endorsement. He also said that Meta is going to provide less election information than in the past.
Look, it's obviously a very important and it'll be a historic election. You know, I feel like I'm best positioned maybe to talk about what our role will be in it and what we're going to do. And look, I mean, the main thing that I hear from people is that they actually want to see less political content on our services because they come to our services to connect with people. So, you know, that's what we're going to do, where we give people control over this, but we're generally trying to recommend less political content. So I think you're going to see our services play less of a role in this election than they have in the past.
This is like, it's wild to hear if it's true. Now, I guess I would say worst case scenario, Mark Zuckerberg has like a middle management lib problem, maybe the way that Elon did when he took over Twitter and needs to like complete a house cleaning. And then best case scenario, maybe it's like an error in the code. It got applied to the real photo rather than the doctored one. Maybe that is true. But obviously the consequences are the same. Who trusts big tech in the media, right? Who can trust them right now? I keep thinking of all the narratives that they either helped cover for or they helped push. How about very fine people on both sides, right? Like they helped push that. It still haunts us almost 8 years later. They're still repeating all of these lies. You think about the Hunter Biden laptop.
Yeah, well, that was the suppression. That was the other side.
That's what I'm saying. Right. It's both sides. Right. The Hunter Biden laptop that they suppressed right before an election. And I'm just like, I don't know how much grace I want to give for this.
Well, I will tell you something about the comments. That's exactly what happens in Hollywood when someone's supporting Trump and they don't want to tell anyone.
Yeah.
No, well, I'm not going to vote for anybody. I'm not for one person or the other.
Yeah.
He's voting for Trump.
The fact that he actually said it was badass. I was like,
he didn't just say it was badass. He said it was like the most badass thing he'd ever seen in his life.
Right. Like you don't say that and then you're like, no, I'm not.
No, so that's what he's doing. And here's an interesting thing. And I said this, a friend of mine once came up to me and he said, Matt, because I know you have 1,000 children. He said, I'm going to have a kid. What can I expect? And I said, well, firstly, you're going to lose a lot of friends. He was a producer in Hollywood. I said, secondly, you're going to change your politics.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if Zuckerberg's had a kid, but all of a sudden, you know, like I know for me, like I'll sit there and
I'm really certain they do.
And what happens is, if you have children and you truly love them, then you become selfless, then you will die for your children because they're the most important things to you. So what happens is people start going, well, hang on a second, like, you know, when people say, well, I'll eat this, but my kids are having organic, or I'll eat this, but no, they're not doing that, or I'm on this thing, but my kids aren't on it, right? That's what you're seeing right there, in my opinion, because he's like, hang on a second, it was okay when I was making all these billions of dollars, but what world am I leaving for my kids? Yep. And that we've said this 1,000 times on here, it has to be personal to you. It has to be personal for you to change. The drag queens, everyone's like, oh, we were saying before, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it does matter. It really does matter. And people are waking up to it now. They're starting to see, well, hang on a second. After I get all the piles of money, and I can buy my own island, I can do whatever I want to do, I'm famous, I'm rich. What now?
Right.
And so I think you've seen it with Elon, especially with what he said about his kid. I don't know. Maybe these guys, they're getting older, they realize that not all that glitters is gold, and they have to do something for their kids. And by the way, he's got so much information. Don't forget that. Do you remember that meeting where he's in the room with Barack Obama? It was all the big tech guys around the table. He knows a lot of stuff. And lastly, and I'll shut up, it's a circular firing squad with those guys. He knows that it's only a matter of time before the lib machine turns and goes, oh, you evil man, white, evil, Jewish man, I'm coming after you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, he does seem to he's going through some sort of, I don't even call it a crisis, because I think that some of the things that he's picked up on have been more or less positive, right? He's getting more active. He's getting involved in sport, which I think that's good for any man to be involved in. And yeah, he is. Look, when it comes to social media, especially the massive ones, I think his position actually is the most preferable one. And this is a position that I'd much rather all of them have. And I'm not just saying that just because I was libertarian, I love for a more apolitical culture, which I would. But it's about when you have that much power, your role necessarily, morally, should not be in trying to specifically influence people one way or the other if you're just going to exist. So just allowing people to share whatever they want to share without suppressing it either one way or pushing it the other way, again, is the more preferable position. Mm-hmm. So if that is something that he is going to do, I think what we should understand, definitely those that are perpetually online, that does signify a really massive change. I mean, we can talk about Twitter and how Elon, when he got in control of that, that fundamentally changed discourse online. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think people need to realize that it was the one platform where you felt like you could get away. And it's not to say that people aren't, be it the algorithm or the AI is picking up on something and then someone maybe gets wrongfully banned, but it's not nearly to the degree of what it was before he got it. And I think we all can agree, of all the major platforms that we're on, if there is one platform where I feel one of the major platforms, because there's the more obscure ones out there, but one of the major big tech companies, it's got to be X. Yeah. But it's because you're able to speak out.
Let's talk about Google for a second, because they are still openly campaigning for the left. Now, I want you to, if you haven't yet seen this, go do it for yourself, okay? Go to Google and search for information about Donald Trump's assassination attempt and see if you find anything missing, okay? So here's a picture. Assassination attempt on, here's the auto-populate, Reagan, Hitler, Bob Marley. 7 more results under that, and none of them are Donald Trump. Even if you go to assassination attempt TRUM, you get assassination attempt on Truman. You cannot make this up, guys. And I did it. I saw this and I was like, I'm going to do it. Yep. Still the same. It will not come up. So if you search it, search Google information for, search Google for information on Donald Trump. And the top hits are all about Kamala Harris. Not Donald, just top stories. News about Kamala Harris. AP News, why Harris keeps calling Trump and Vance weird. The Guardian, Harris and Trump release dueling ads as candidates refine their messaging. New York Times, what the polls tell us about Harris versus Trump. That's not what the search was, but that's what you're going to find over at Google. Stop using it. Stop using it. Is it clear what they want? Is it clear they're going to push their agenda all the way into November? Assassination attempt on Truman. I'm sure many people are searching for that right now.
And Bob Marley.
Marley.
I didn't even know that Bob Marley
was an assassination attempt on him. I didn't know that either. That's news to me.
Wouldn't it be funny if there actually wasn't? And that was still one of the auto population.
So
there was a great video out though I saw yesterday where they went through the media, which we've got to, like, everyone has to know it now. With them saying that J.D. Vance was weird, who he's totally not weird. He's probably the most normal person you'd ever meet, right?
That's weird to them.
Of course, but they can have sex in in Congress. You know, they can. Blue man is okay.
Right. Drag queen with beard, not
He's
weird.
just not weird.
Normal white dude, weird. Got it.
It's just bizarre to me. But there's a video where it showed a bunch of clips put together, and this is very recent, right? So it's because he's only been nominated for how long? A couple of weeks. And it's like, they're like, this weird.
AstroTurf, man.
They are absolutely pumping that out.
Oh, yeah.
It's all fake.
Yeah.
So I just wonder, what can they do? A libertarian, when Trump and Vance get in, when they get in,
I like that.
right? What can they do about this misinformation? Because we keep hearing about misinformation, yet look at what's going on right here with Google. They're the biggest culprits of it. So what can be done?
Yeah, it's hard to see. This is what I think the way that you attack it is you see how many or in what aspects these massive companies that do participate in this nonsense, like what role do they play in, like not just the legal process in itself, but just government in general, be it candidates as well as what was revealed with the Twitter files, which is totally unacceptable, where you have basically agents essentially of the state that are either working directly with these massive tech companies and being very influential, or using that power to get what it is that they want by, again, working for Google, or like, let's say whoever it is at the time, Twitter, let's say when it happened with the Twitter files, as agents of Twitter or agents of the state, or both. I mean, effectively, maybe you can make the argument that they were the same damn thing. So you start pulling that stuff, because that's the thing that I'm all about private enterprise. You guys know that, right? But I do not consider it private enterprise, because it's not private enterprise when you start using that to influence the state or influence the government. And that's where it gets real tricky. And sometimes it's not even just in that form of the legal process. Sometimes it's in the form of grants and other sorts of like subsidies and subsidizing, where you're playing these sort of favors. Anybody that's doing that should be playing neutral if you're getting any sort of benefit, because that's bogus if you are.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. If you like this clip and you want to see the full episode, click here. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, come on, you know you do. Click here.